Go for it.
Okay. Let me clear my throat. Wondering where Wallace is? It's the Vox Cascadia podcast.
What do you mean
Wallace?
Tyler, do you not know the Where's Wallace scene?
It'd be like in Wallace and Gromit?
No. See, it was before we got here. We've got a special guest who will reveal himself in a moment. We were talking about probably one of the best shows ever created. And I got to that very emotional scene. And it hit me in the feels yet again for the billionth time.
Are you talking about, like, who? Wallace?
Yes, Wallace from The Wire.
Never seen The Wire.
Really? I thought you had.
No, I don't like television. Like generally as a medium for storytelling. You know, like I either like my stuff to be like animated stuff can go on forever, okay. But like if it's not like a monster of the week style show, okay, so like Supernatural, Hercules, stuff like that, like where it's pretty episodic, Star Trek, you know, like there can be an overarching plot for the season, but it's like pretty light. There's still like little stuff going on. You need to end the TV show at 4 seasons. If you go over 4 seasons, if you can't tell me a story in like 22 episodes per season over 4 seasons, you failed. I don't want to see it. So
I disagree. I think you're wrong. Episodic TV is amazing. I think it needs to be like, if there's not like 15 seasons, why are you even watching it? What's the point?
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy is great.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy is still going on.
I'm just not into it. Like my partner's like a TV show person. You know, she'll watch like a new TV show, you know, as soon as she finishes the next one. And I'm just not into it. Although we did recently start Supernatural because she's never seen that, and I just wanted stupid monster of the week kind of show. And she is totally hooked on that.
I never did watch Supernatural. It's one I've wanted to get into because I like the idea and the characters, but have not. So you heard Connor, you heard Tyler, you hear me, Chuck, and in the background making all that noise is Shawn. Say hi, Shawn.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing, buddy? So we have Shawn Ross with us. Shawn's a player from up north in Bellingham, and he's got a tournament coming up in March, and we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about painting. We're gonna talk about Yaegers. We're gonna get to know Shawn. So, Shawn, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the hobby?
First, I want to say thank you guys for having me on. It's really nice of you to do that. I don't know why. I was telling Chuck earlier, I got nervous all of a sudden when it's like I talk to you guys every day.
We're kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know. Connor, tell the man what a big deal we are.
We are the biggest deal since sliced bread. More important than any president, any prime minister, any celebrity. We're probably the 3 most important people since. Damn it! Who's a very famous group of 3 people? I can't. The 3 Musketeers.
You got to think about this stuff before you say it, buddy.
Hey, no, come on, you're asking a lot. Asking Connor to think before he speaks. Come on, you should know better.
You know I don't do that.
Connor just opens his mouth and 1s and 0s come out. That's
beep,
what he
boop, 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 boop.
By the way, Tyler and I are being sarcastic. Connor actually really thinks that.
I'm joking too. Come on.
Hey, all I know is that I have had absolute strangers, even at LVO, when I mentioned Vox Cascadia and KT Ski, and I gave them our little stickers that we had to hand out, people would be like, "Oh, do you know Connor?" That happened once, I swear on my child.
That kid's ass.
Who was it that was asking about me?
I didn't want to ask their name because I felt like that would be more fun.
Damn it. Well, thank you if you're listening who talked to Shawn.
It was very funny to me. But yeah, about me,
Real quick, Shawn.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You're really hot again. I don't know why. Maybe move the mic away just a little bit. Actually.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like Connor. Yeah.
How's that going?
That's good right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Where did
tell us about yourself? What do we need to know about Shawn Ross and the hobby journey? How did we get here? Why are you running a tournament playing Kill Team?
Yeah, no. So I started the hobby about 4 years ago. I really wanted to paint miniatures and sculptures and things like that, as I was spending a lot of time doing canvas painting, and I just left video games in general. And I was looking for something interesting. Warhammer models just looked the coolest. And I think it was right around that time that I just kind of dove in after the Astartes video made its way onto YouTube. That was my big, like, ooh, what is this moment for Warhammer? From there, I've just been painting and doing commission work for a few years. One of my commissioners got me into Kill Team because I just didn't know anything about the game, and the commission was very specific to Kill Team. So I had to follow all of these instructions. So I figured, well, look up the rules so I don't have to ask. And it just checked every box for me when it comes to a game that feels competitive, player versus player on the tabletop. Like it seemed balanced at the time. It had very low gambling kind of feeling to it, whereas like Warhammer 40K to me just felt very much like fate of the dice, and I didn't like that as a gamer. And from there, I've been playing the game pretty much every chance I can get. I think about 3 times a week I play now. And with that, some of the people that I painted models with and did commissions and stuff like that, we just really wanted to create kind of a third space for all of us in our local area. And Kill Team was the easiest vector for that, because a lot of the people who wanted to participate with us just didn't have a lot of time. So a nice 2-hour game session, hanging out together, sharing a pizza, it just really clicked with all of our people. So after about 2 years of that, we usually sit at about 10 to 20 people every night when we get together. It's pretty great.
That's impressive. The good numbers. Like, like it always feels good to like get together with your friends and just like roll some dice and play some games and have people drop in and out as they can. Like that's one great part about like a good FLG and like a good gaming group, especially with a game like Kill Team. You can like pop in for a couple hours, play a game, maybe 2, and then dip out at your convenience. And some people will be there all day, and some people will be there for just a little bit.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we really wanted for it, to create a space where people felt safe and welcome and could make friends. And that's always been my core focus with Kill Team, is the social experience that it provides. I've been fortunate enough to work with 2 of our game stores here in town. Shout outs to Cosmic Games and Aegis Games here. They've given me a lot of freedom to help build the community, make sure that we have good rules set up ahead of time so people aren't mean or non-inclusive. I've told people they're not welcome before because of that. And it's created a really good safe space for people to come in and just have a good time and make friends.
Hell yeah, we love it. As you know, we're all about that inclusivity there.
Yeah.
When I started KTC, it was all about making sure that like not only was it a place where we could all get together across the Northwest, but it was a place that was inclusive, because like a lot of my friends are queer, but like also how Warhammer's gay as fuck. If you don't like that take, stop listening to this podcast and go find a new hobby, because you're just a tourist. So, yeah.
I very much agree with that. And that was honestly, that sentiment was a big reason why I dove into KTC after meeting everyone. My first big tournament was the Tacoma Open 2 years ago. I went with one other person that I knew. We weren't really like there together, so I barely saw them. I remember very distinctly the first day, the Thursday before the tournament, I went to the venue to just check it out, maybe see if I could get a pickup game. And I met a couple of people from KTC. I didn't know it at the time. And then Brandon Bean who is just the greatest person, walked up to me, saw that we were both playing the same team for the tournament, and wanted to just chat. And I felt the vibes in that moment, because it was like 2 minutes of talking to him, and there's like 5 people standing around us, all people that are from KTC or the surrounding area. And we just had an amazing experience. And from there, I was just like, okay, this is my new group of friends. This is what I'm into.
Yeah, I remember talking to you at that Tacoma. Like you brought Colts to it. Brandon was bringing Colts, and like you were one of the few people playing Colts. And you were, obviously, they were hot. They were real hot right then. So everyone wanted to see what you were feeling and how you were feeling about them, how experienced you were. It was a lot of mind games going on that day. So, like, it was cool to meet you that day, and it's cool to like see you grow as a person in that time, from there, like, like starting out, like just, you and one other person, to like where you're at now. You're running a pretty big event. You got 64 spots open at your event, right?
Yeah, it's 64.
Wow, that's real good. I hope you fill them all. I'm going to be there playing. And like I see your community growing, and I see all the people you bring into our Discord. And all the people you got supporting you, and just like the way that you've grown as an organizer and a person and stuff like that in that time. It's really cool, man. I'm happy to have you as my friend from that moment.
No, and that means a lot to me, really. Thank you. It's just, and not to make it a love sesh or anything, but KTC and just this game in general has been such an amazing experience for me as somebody transitioning into my 30s and being a dad and working a more professional job. And it's like so many of those life changes. And then right at this time, I meet a light group of people, have a lot of the same moral values and things like that, and just want to get together and have a good time with each other. And it was everything to me. So I've been having a blast.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that tournament. So,
Sure.
It's the journey. We've got the journey that's got you to hosting your own like GT tournament. So, got a golden ticket on the line. Tell us. So, you're on here to shield the tournament, not just to get to know you and all the lovey feels, which I love that piece too. But tell us what's going on. Tell us about the Cascade Killzone Cascade Team GT.
Yes, it is. Cascade Clash is an event that happens with a local store here, hosted by Aegis Games. They host it at the Skagit Event Center, and they've been doing this for 2 or 3 years now, where it's a huge 40K event, 2 golden tickets every time they host it, and I think they have 2 tournaments a year. So it was a really big opportunity for me, because my goal ever since the Tacoma Open was I want to go to Worlds. And the hardest part about trying to go to Worlds in the Pacific Northwest is that there's 2 golden ticket events every year, and they are filled with an absolute just list of amazing players. Sharks, absolutely.
Shark Tank. And then we're getting, like we're the only one on the West Coast now, especially, for actual full golden ticket, full ride. You get your hotel, you get everything. So we get people coming up from California, Vegas, people are flying out for Tacoma. And it's the biggest one GW hosts, so it's the best that GW hosts. So like everyone wants to be at Tacoma if you're going to be at a GT,
Yep. And that was a big part of it. Is it's like, man, this is so hard. I'm going to have to really work and just become so lucky. And to watch people that are my friends and people that I train with and stuff like that, knowing that they just don't have a shot because it's only one person gets to go. And it's really a lot of luck and a lot of skill all together at once. So I was like, we need more events. So I've just been making connections with people, making friendships, working on ways to provide value while also getting what we want for our players. And that was just something that I was so dedicated at, is to create this event. And Lee, the owner of Aegis, reached out and was very, very, very interested in hosting a Kill Team tournament, but he was like, I don't know anything about Kill Team. So it really came together great to create this event. But yeah, it would not be possible without them for sure.
So you're saying that we need more events up here because, as is history, people from California are coming up here, raising our housing prices, taking our golden tickets. I'm talking about you, Jimmy Kelly. I'm talking about you, Chris Baki. Jeshua was trying. No, actually, the California people are great, but
Yeah, we love you. You know, California, you're all great.
Hell of a guy. So, yeah.
You're just jealous he has better purple outfits than you do, Chuck.
I can rock purple. Come on.
Yeah, we got to step up our style game because Jimmy Kelly is such an amazing person, but he rocks those outfits. He cannot be the only one who gets away.
We have our own brand line, though. We have Dice Thrower.
Absolutely. We got the best shirts out there. Like, not just for gaming, just period. You know, you won't find a higher quality shirt 20 years from now.
Right now,
you guys will still be wearing these shirts. You'll be like, man, this shirt has held up so well. So,
I mean, I love mine.
I mean, until Jimmy Kelly brings out his own like JK suit line or something, like, and I would buy that in a heartbeat. Like, it's just purple top to bottom, like styled by Jimmy Kelly. Then Dice Thrower is the Kill Team reigning supreme clothing line.
I mean, I'm gonna do a special run on some of my shirts for Jimmy Kelly. So, and Kel Team, they're gonna have custom purple shirts just for them. So that's something we've been talking about together, just to make sure that they're properly outfitted in some nice, comfortable t-shirts.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they come day one. They come with their the suits. They come the final day. They get the suits, but in a couple day event, they need stuff in between. So it's nice that you're hooking them up, Tyler. So speaking of multiple day events, Shawn, you have a 2-day event, right? What's the format going to be? What are we looking at? It's going to be all Beta Decima, is what I hear. So I'm excited for that.
Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. So the full rundown for anybody that is hopefully listening to get some info that you wouldn't get otherwise, to give it to Vox Cascadia as I can. It'll be a 2-day 7-round event. The rounds will be 2 hours and 15 minutes, standard, chess clocks, sportsmanship, those sorts of things in place. The terrain will be an even split between Volcus and Into the Dark. We'll be using the standard Games Workshop maps for Volcus with the second story vantage turned off. And like I can give all my reasoning for that when we talk about the data slate, but it's just going to be a lot easier for me as a TO, which I will be TOing with Brandon Bean. And then it'll just be easier for rules and fairness to just say that second story is my storage closet and we're going to put barrels up there. For the Into the Dark stuff, it will be Dakota's maps from LVO and some GW. I personally think that they're a little bit more fair to players on the more condensed maps that he created for LVO. Large open rooms right now are just not great for the game.
Large open rooms they're so rough. Like going into those rooms as some teams, just it's a shit show. It's really something you don't want. That's why we threw, like, for our Christmas event, we threw that extra terrain in there. That was a more casual event, so you can't really do that at a GT.
Yep.
In the same way, people get a little touchy about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I try not to change too much. I want this to be a competitive event, something that you could expect every part of it if you went to Worlds or something like that. So I want players to have the ability to practice ahead of time. The other little leak that hasn't been told to anybody yet is the missions that will be played at the event will be loot, secure, transmission, power surge, and coordinates. And I believe we're also going to be playing upload. Any of the missions that are just kind of weighted towards scoring at the end of the game, picking up the objective, or just the fact that some of them are very unfair to newer players if you just aren't reading every single nuanced little word. We just decided to veto those missions completely.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange missions that already throw the questionable balance of some of these maps even further out of whack.
Yeah, and even just some of the matchups, I would say,
For sure.
sabotage when you're playing against a team that out activates you and you accidentally only leave one model on your home objective. Well, now you just lost all your points.
Yep, for sure. It's really rough. Some of those missions are there's something for sure. They're part of the game, you know.
Yeah. I've definitely been the last couple months realizing that just because I love this game and it has been very balanced in the past does not mean that it's very balanced right now. So I'm trying to bring some of that love back into the game by making it more fair for newer players that have only played like 10 to 20 games and the people like us who play way too much.
I've heard a big complaint from a lot of new players is that Hunter Clade are pretty weak. So I think you should do for this tournament, a secret balance data slate that is buffs.
Ban Hunter Clade.
Nope. Yep. Buffs them, hit on twos, full relentless, all that jazz. New players would be a big fan of that.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely going to mention that custom rules will be there, but only for Connor. But he is going to have to submarine that first round.
Okay, I'm down with that. Listen, I'm playing Hunter Clade. That's going to submarine me regardless if you bring him.
Are you actually bringing Hunter Clade? I thought you were going to bring fucking Aquilans.
No, I just meant in this hypothetical if I do. I don't know what I'm going to bring. I have no clue. Maybe Aquilans. I might let that up to Patreons and have them vote on like some of the teams I have that I can probably get ready by March. Because who knows? We'll find out.
What about that terrain you're supposed to be getting ready, Connor?
I'm working. That's the other thing I was going to mention later on is I'm going to have patrons be able to vote what I paint for the colors for this final set of ITD because we're bringing some up for good old Shawn.
I thought you said you were going to have them like have the patrons paint for us. So not only keeping us on the air, but also like, hey, paint our terrain for us too.
Oh man, I bet Zaren's a great painter.
Zaren is a good painter.
I mean,
he got his mention.
You got his mention. Bump him up another tier.
So, I mean, Shawn, if you're counting on Connor bringing a painted set of ITD, good luck, man. I'll bring a set up for you or two.
I have 3 painted sets. What are you talking about?
Another one.
I have till March to do it, and ITD takes like more time for the hobby aspect than it does painting it.
It's like a month away, dude. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, man. Like it's right here. Like what are you talking about? Oh, it's way out in March. Like no, it's here. That event is here. You got to have a week out.
Yeah, I think we're about 6 weeks away.
Are they like 4 weeks away?
Yeah, you're like a month out, man.
Oh my god,
4 weeks from this weekend. No pressure or anything, buddy.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely stressed, but I've got a good support system, a lot of people helping, and I think we're going to do great.
I got your back, man. Whatever you need, let me know. So we'll come through for you. So that's what homies do.
Yeah, no, I've definitely wouldn't have been able to do this without your guys' help. So, and Brandon's as well. So I really appreciate it.
I mean, if I can run tournaments, you can run tournaments. I mean, if I can do it, it can't be that hard.
Yeah, it's really just amassing terrain and getting people together. Like that's what it is, Run tournaments. If you're thinking about running tournaments, if you need help running tournaments, if you're hearing this, reach out to us. We'll help you. We'll do what we can. We're not like trying to monopolize events. We just run our events and we do our thing. But we're about the community. So reach out. We'll publicize your event. We'll help you run it. Like whatever we can do.
In fact, I'm all about delegating too. I've been a manager for like 27 years. So if I can teach you how to run tournaments so I can play in your tournaments, fuck yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely. We have the biggest scene in the United States. So like we need to get like tournaments to reflect it. Like Shawn said, we're going to have hopefully a lot more golden tickets this year, not just 2, 3, hopefully 5, 6, plus 7, coming from the Pacific Northwest for our events. Because, like, why are other regions having 10-man events with a golden ticket?
Yep.
Like, that's not fair when we're having, the biggest draws out of any region consistently, and we can't even get 2. So that's got to change.
I absolutely agree. That's why I started all of this. And to anybody that's nervous about that stuff, that's exactly how it goes. You just have to be willing to be that first person. Go out there, ask your game stores, talk to them. If you can prove to them that there's money to be made, they will allow you to host a tournament there. And that is the first place you start. Always follow the KTC preference of doing a little something for charity, which is a huge part of what I do for my own small tournaments up here. But you just have to show that there's a scene, and once it's consistent, GW will give you a golden ticket.
Amen. Absolutely. So, just stay consistent, get registered for their tournament organizer thing if you're looking forward it for doing that. If, like I said, if you need help, reach out. We'll help you do what we can.
Speaking of, though, we're talking about tournaments. The last major tournament you were at, Shawn, that was LVO, right?
Yeah, that was such a great time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, looked like a fantastic time, and you walked away with a little bit of booty. Give us a little summary of what that booty was.
Whoa, and what happens in Vegas?
Oh my God! I just wanted to use a fun pirate term, Chuck.
Oh.
It's okay. I was like, my wife went with me, buddy.
I hate you guys. I wouldn't ever talk about something like that.
No, yes, I did get a little bit of reward for going, other than just having a great time. I was able to snag the best in faction for Yaegers. I was a few points shy from number 1 in the world on BCP, which was my huge goal for bringing the team. So that was a little sad. But I also got third best painted single model, I think is what the award was. I just remember that I heard my name and I got to take a picture with John Reese. So that was pretty cool.
Hey, well done, man. That's sick. Are you going to have anything like that for like best model or hobby side stuff at your Cascade event here?
Yes, we will. If I pull up our document for it, I believe there is going to be a huge amount of prize support for this event. Aegis really likes to go hard with their stuff. I think we've got 8 or 9 different prize categories.
Hell yeah, that's going to be sick.
Yeah, including best painted, voted by players, which I think is a great idea. Let's see. Awards. So yes, there will be a tournament champion, best overall. So that's the player with the highest hobby score, score from the tournament, and no warnings for sportsmanship. Best painted. Then we will have aspiring champions is what they're calling these awards. This will be the highest ranked player in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Then best general in faction. So because it is still a smaller tournament, we can't do best in faction for each individual team. So these will be the 3 major factions of Xenos, Imperium, and Chaos. Then the Dauntless Award, which is one of my new favorites. The player who got the lowest score but did not drop from the tournament. And then Best Sportsman. So just somebody who really carries that competitive spirit and good attitude and makes every match fun for everybody.
Hell yeah, that's an awesome amount of awards. I like that Dauntless one. That's pretty cool to be like, hey, sometimes the dice and just odds don't go your way, but you stuck it out no matter what, and that's always a good thing to do because it makes sure the events remain a good time.
Connor's got his eyes set on the prize.
Listen, if I bring my 100 blade, I can do that.
No, I think that's a great idea because the fact is tournaments don't happen without the players, and not everybody can win. So reinforcing that, just sticking it out and having a good time is really important because for me, one of the biggest parts about being a good player is being okay with losing.
I mean, you got to learn how to lose, you know? Like one of the things that feels bad in the hobby is when you beat your opponent and you can tell that they're salty about it, like in
Yeah.
a negative way.
Yeah. And wrapping it back to LVO, I did not have that experience a single time. It was really wonderful. Almost every single person I met and had a conversation with was just really great. So I think that if you expect that from an event, it usually goes pretty good.
Yeah. Remember, even if you're going for golden ticket, your real goal is to make 7 friends by the end of it. You know, 1 friend every round. If you already know your opponent, have a better relationship with them by the end of it. You know, celebrate the game that you get to have that you probably don't get to have too often at that high of a level. You know, play your heart out, but like go and look to make friends, because like that's going to be the outcome that really gives you the best result in the end.
Speaking of LVO, real quick, speaking of making friends, Connor and I actually sat down a couple weekends ago with a great player, and I'd like to think now a friend. We sat down with Sammy. So Sammy took some time out to talk about his tournament win, and so let's hear that right now. All right, and welcome to the podcast, Sammy. Sammy, the
Thank
winner
you.
of the Las Vegas Open. We've also got Connor sitting in. Sammy's been nice enough to take some time out of their busy day to. I'm sure the celebrations are continuing on. It's about a week after your tournament win, so thanks for joining us.
Of course. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So, tell us just a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in wargaming or in the hobby in general? And what was your kind of journey to Kill Team?
Yeah, I started Kill Team. Gosh, I think it's been 2 years. Last February. My friends, they're big war game guys. We were playing at a fighting game tournament, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play this game that we've been trying out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Kill Team. It's like a branch off of 40K." And I really liked it because the reason I've never really been a big war gamer or even a 40K guy is because when you have to invest so much money into starting an army and all this other stuff and all the rules, it just was like, dude, I don't care enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. But Kill Team piqued my interest because it is like chess, and I'm in my own personal time, I play a lot of strategy games like StarCraft and stuff. So I like that sort of back and forth dynamic. So it caught my interest a lot. I enjoyed it, picked it up, been playing a long time now for those 2 years. I've been mainly practicing with the club I'm part of, which is KDO Fight Club, and CPTS, the Command Point Discord for TTS games. I'm a student of that area because, there's nothing better than going to lose against the other top players in the world and being like, well, like, how did I lose? And so that's how I started, and I just kept losing and losing until I eventually got good enough to start beating them. That's literally the journey.
Nice. So before LVO, did you have any other tournament wins that you've had, whether that be like TTS stuff or in person?
No, some in-person local stuff. No big tournaments. I don't travel a lot because of my work. I have to stay pretty local to California, and I do travel a lot for work anyways. So I'm never one to be like, I'm going to go all the way out to Adepticon or Nova, and I do want to actually, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, when everything's a little bit more settled in my life, go out to those tournaments because, I personally am not a big grinder, quote unquote, for tournaments. I'm a big player of the game, so like, I know a lot of people are sort of insulated and have their own competitive scenes. Our scene up in NorCal, where I'm at, is a little bit more quiet. It's definitely more casual, so I don't get as many reps in. But I'll go on TTS and try to find all like Dan or I think he's up there, Shawn or someone out there that's a really world class player, and I'll just get reps in against them as much as possible on TTS. So this was my big first tournament win. It was really strange because I told my team, I was like, I'm going with the expectation of trying to get best warp coven and top 8, and then I won the whole thing, and I was like, this was not in my expectations. I don't know how I feel. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's quite the to have your first big tournament win be the biggest tournament in the world. That's pretty solid solid tournament win debut there, buddy.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, it's always sweet to have it be like a name that we haven't seen before, which is just even more exciting. So seriously, well done. And for anyone that somehow hasn't heard the news, you were piloting Warp Coven. We all know they're a pretty strong team. But a little bit before in the pre-show here, we were talking. You've been like a Warp Coven player for a long time, right?
Yeah, I started dabbling in them, I think, after I was playing Felgor for a bit. That was, I think, back about a year ago when they just received, I think, a couple buffs where they made some of the quality of lives to the rubrics and the Zangors. And I was like, okay, I'm really interested in this team now. And something that always sort of pushed me off of them was the fact that they are actually difficult to paint. And I was just learning how to paint and all this stuff. And so I felt more comfortable in my painting journey. I felt more comfortable with the rules. They felt better as a team, not top of the tier, but not at the bottom tier. And so I dabbled in them for almost, I think, 8 months into, and then following into the new edition. And then I played them for pretty much the beginning of the edition until now. So almost a year and a quarter. Of just straight playing Warp Coven and some other stuff like Brood Brother, but it was mainly Warp Coven. So I came into this edition with like all this knowledge, and I was like, well, they didn't really change it too much, so I'm feeling pretty good about my chances.
Yeah, that's it's great that you are not a fair weather Warp Coven player because there's a lot of people that maybe jumped onto Legios or Warp Coven or Higher Tech because they're like they wanted to win. So it's really nice that you have that pedigree of having played Warp Coven for a long time. So
Yep.
it's good. It's probably really nice to see the team be where they're at, although they probably need to come down a little bit, don't you think?
100%. I think the team is way too good. Just not even including some of like the more egregious stuff like the ignoring of piercing and some seek things. There's just a lot in the team that I think catches people off guard. Like I caught Chris off with the whole extra inch on the fly, and he was like, "Man, I didn't see that coming," and all this other crap. And overall, the team has so many layers to it that if you pilot it well, you can sort of see it. But if you're new to it, it's like I don't see those lines. So the team just needs a bit of adjustment. I just think it's going to sort of be on the lighter end this first time around, maybe a heavier hand on the second time around. But the strength of the team is the flexibility. It's the ability to flex into the Horde matchup or flex into the Elite matchup either way and still have the advantage. So, I mean, I think they could probably nerf the team maybe 2 or 3 more times after this. And honestly, I could still see them being like an A tier team, barring any of the new teams that come out. Because we could get some crazy team that comes out and it's just like the best in the world. And Warp Covenant, it's like it's yesteryear. So who knows?
So, what do you think of we wanted a balanced data slate. A lot of people wanted a balanced data slate at least before Las Vegas Open happened, but we never got it. What do you think of the like little tweaks and changes that Dakota implemented before the tournament? Were you in favor of those? I know some of them hit your team directly.
Yeah, I was in favor of all of them. I think the big thing about Warp Coven is that though they were affected by the changes, they weren't the things that made them egregious. Like counteracting heal is a pretty egregious thing. Even though I just said it wasn't. But the things that are like busted about Warp Coven, he didn't really touch. He tried to do pretty universal changes. So if people don't know about it, like the Warp Flame Sorcerer, Warp Fire Sorcerer has like a Seek spell that is just it's unlimited range and it's crazy strong. And then you have a boon that if you roll a crit, you do Dev 1 on it. So you can basically kill any 7 or 8 wound model if you roll pretty hot. So he didn't really touch stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, these changes look good. I'm always in favor of not having the whole cover obscuring thing. If people know what that is, it's ridiculous that you can do that in the current edition on flat walls and stuff like that. So overall, I think the changes are really good for the health of the game, even if it impacted my team. I'm more of an advocate of the game being balanced, more so in the terms of like everyone is able to beat each other rather than just like, oh, this team is the best de facto team. So anything that can take Warp Coven down from being that, even like Legionaries 2, I feel is for the benefit of the game, I should say.
I feel like most people are like that, except Connor just wants his robots to be able to kill everyone, so he doesn't care about balance.
I mean, I want the game to be balanced. I just want AdMech to be at the top of the balance. I think that's a fair opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so. So let's talk about your games a little bit though. So day 1, game 1, right out of the gates, you took a loss.
Oh yeah, against Steven. Steven's a great opponent, great guy. I keep saying that, but he really is. He just rolled pretty hot on Tesla Weave charge. He's playing higher tech circle. And if people don't know what that is, you roll a d6, you take or a d3, and then you take varying amounts of damage. And the breakpoints basically is like if you charge Zangor in, if he rolls a 1 or a 2 in damage, you can kill them in 3 hits. And sort of how the retaliation math works out, you'll always maybe be able to kill him depending if he doesn't have the auto accurate 2 thing. But he didn't roll just 1 or 2. He rolled 3 damage, I think, every time I charged him. And at that point, the game was over because I charged him like 3 or 4 times, and I was just like, I'm dead. I don't think there's any way I can beat you now. And then I did get like a nice little shot off, but he rolled really hot then too on his defensive saves, and I was just like, all right, brother, I think it's time to pack it up. I think there's like TP3, and then he like nuked a sorcerer from like full health. I was like, yeah, and now it's really time to pack it up.
Well, that's a rough way to start the tournament. That's how I started the same tournament, but my results were not as successful as you. So, so after that first game, and actually, what was your goal going into the Las Vegas Open? Were you trying to win the whole thing, or I mean, you said you want to be best in faction for Warp Coven, but like, did you think you could win the whole thing?
No. I think I said earlier top 8 was my goal. I think I had the confidence of getting top 8 pretty I was very confident in getting top 8. I think that was my ending goal. I think when I lost the first round, I definitely was just like, you know what? That's okay. I still can get top 8. I just buckled down and try to play against all my opponents. I will definitely say I think I submarined a bit. It was a lot of luck in my run because I didn't run into Legionary players at all. I think I ran into a lot of Plague Marines, and Plague Marines is definitely one of my most practiced matchup because I have a player here locally that plays it. So I didn't feel as pressured. I think the only thing that really caught me off guard during my run was Void Dancers because I don't have any Void Dancers players around me, and it's not very common team on TTS. So I had to sort of go back in my bag of knowledge from way back then and sort of be like, okay, so they still sort of do the same thing. I'm going to try to run the style I ran in the past and see if it worked out. And it worked out twice. So, yeah, that's about it, I think. Yeah, like top 8 was my goal. That was basically it.
So, do you want to talk about that Void Dancer game you had?
Yeah, I think I played against Ka Ace round 6. Very strong opponent, like incredible opponent. I think he goes by like Captain Corgi or something, but he was definitely one of, if not like the second hardest matchup against Chris, who was definitely my hardest matchup. He just had a lot of nice understanding of positioning and just where he needed to be, and it came down to that there was like one roll he just didn't kill my rubric in, and he fell back to shoot him, and the rubric lived, but then I was able to get like a double kill with my sorcerer, and that was the reason I won. I think up to that point it was a pretty even game, and he definitely made me question like, okay, so this is like in the like I should do this differently next time and stuff like that. But yeah, I was really worried playing against him because he was really good, and I'm just happy I squeaked the win against him.
Nice. Well, was there any other games, and besides we'll get to the game with Baki in just a minute. Besides that, any other highlights or stuff that threw you off on any of your other games you could think of?
Not too much. Like I said, Plague Marines was a big. Was just I played a lot of Plague Marines and I played them a lot. Overall, there's nothing that jumped out of me that was different from what I practice against. I really was expecting more Legionary players to be on my run, but they just never came up. So I just that was about it. Nothing really shocked me besides Blades of Cain because I've never read that team in my life. So
yeah, there's not a lot of people playing them right now. So
I don't even think I've played against the Blades of Cain in the new edition yet. But beyond those Blades of Cain, is there like a favorite play you had at the tournament where you're like, damn, this worked out way better than I was expecting? Or like you set up a master plan and it worked out perfectly just the way Warp Coven like to do?
it was definitely the Baki, the Blades of Cain player, and when I shot him with my Warp Flame pistol into 3 of his guys, that was definitely the highlight of my whole tournament because when he said, I'm going to give you initiative, I impersonally, like in my mind, I was just like, I'm about to ruin Chris's day and he doesn't even see it. And I was like, so
I don't know. There's just when your opponent missteps like that, something inside of you is just like, I'm about to win. And that was definitely my favorite moment because I knew my sorcerer was safe because he could teleport back. And yeah, that one especially was like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah, and then so most people played 9 games at the tournament, but you also before the final day you fit in a 10th game,
uh,
little beta Decima against our buddy Brandon Bean, right?
oh yeah, Kid Crew, Brandon. Man, I mean, no one probably knows this, but we had to do a CPTS game in person because we were both there. And I said, "Hey, you want to play in person?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so I brought Beta Decima because that's what we're required to play for the little tournament we're doing. And I was like, "You're playing your main team," because if no one knows, Brendan's a blooded main, and he was playing his main team to practice with LVO. And I'm like, I'm playing Rekkas because I was like, this is for fun. No one cares. And this was like 3-4 weeks before LVO. We just happened to match up each other and be at LVO at the same time. And so I was like, you owe me a drink. And he got me a drink. But then I think, Chuck, you got me a drink. And then I think Zach got me a drink. And I think in the span of an hour, I was like 3 tequila sodas deep. And I was like, what is happening on the board? I just like completely lost all focus. And we were just having a good time.
So all my friends essentially tried to get you drunk so Brandon could beat you. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, they got Brendan just as drunk. I think Brendan went shot for shot with me the entire time. But after that game, I think he had pre-gamed a little bit beforehand. And I think after that game, he was like 5 drinks deep and I was 3 drinks deep. And I'm just like, I roll dice. Yeah, I see you, I shoot gun. And that's what I said like most of that game because I was so belligerent at one point because I'm definitely a lightweight. So 3 drinks in an hour. It's like, man, I'm so gone. So I think at one point I had to have Sean help me put my models back. I was like, Sean, I need help, please.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad at least they took care of you afterwards, and you were both equally, completely stone cold drunk playing
Oh yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, I get to play him again, and he can remember his tack up because that's the only reason I beat him. Because he forgot his tack up 2 times in a row. So
Yeah, it was a pretty fun game to watch. I haven't seen any games on Beta Decima, so I don't know if I should base my views of it on that one game with 2 sloppy drunk players. But it was a really good time. So then we all got dinner afterwards too, which was fun. So
yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the match with Baki and kind of the one move you got off. Is there anything else that on that final match? Any other highlights or anything you want to talk about with it?
I knew there was a little bit of drama that's been spreading around, and I've been sort of just saying like me and Baki have already hashed it out. And I know Baki personally, so I mean, at the end of the day, I didn't think he was trying to slight me or anything. So not more than that, honestly. I think after that one specific move, I think I had pretty much bagged the game. Um, just because he lost two banshees and I lost nothing. And another one was mortally wounded. So I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I've won this game. He is now an elite team with 8 wound models on 4 up saves, and I have like so many more operatives than him. So from there, I was just trying to coast to a victory and not screw it up. And I did it. I didn't fuck it up. So we're here now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Reddit drama about one interaction in that game, and I think it's all overblown. And you guys hashed it out anyway, so it's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, but well, what's you got a golden ticket then, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're gonna be going to Worlds this coming year in Atlanta. What's next for you between now and then?
I think I'm gonna try to grow the community up here and where I'm at, which is Sacramento, and just keep doing what we're doing. And we're actually thinking of holding a golden ticket out here. Hopefully, that's just a little sneak preview. We're trying to hold it so that we can also send maybe another Bay Area, NorCal local, someone that is around from here up out there. But yeah, my main goal really is, besides being competitive players, just to grow the community for Kill Team, because I think, we all want to have a good time, and that's really what I'm here for, is to have a good time. Just winning LVO was the cherry on top of it all, but at the end of the day, it's about growing friendships for me. So
Yeah, that's great. Well, when you do get that tournament up and running, let us know. We'll you can come back on the podcast and shill it out to everyone.
I would love to. I'd love to come up there to I think you guys are hosting Kill Scream in October, right?
Yeah. It
Yep.
should be probably first week in October. I'm actually going to check out a venue for it next week. So
Excellent.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I will be there. I think that's the one tournament, and then there was another one I was thinking about East Coast wise with Orion Wolfing. And we was like, "Hey, you want to play doubles?" And he told me, he's like, "Do you want to play doubles since we've won golden tickets?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. I'm gonna play like Exaction Squad or something and just just run at people and see." So yeah, I'd love to do it. Love to come up play you guys' Kill Scream.
yeah, we'd love to have you.
That'd be pretty sick, yeah. I think that pretty much wraps up our questions beyond my favorite one to ask every guest. You are now in charge of GW Kill Team design. What team is the first one you'd like to see made?
And people sort of know this of me because I'm not quiet about it. I really want Grey Knights, like extremely badly. I've been shouting for Grey Knights since like I started playing the hobby because I think they look so stupid, but they look so cool. Something about the 9-year-old in me loves the fact that they're knights, but they're demon hunters. And they're just big bulky guys that are teleport everywhere. I don't know, something about it. Just I love it so much. I really want Grey Knights. I heard maybe there's a chance it comes out and maybe this year or next year, and I'm like, I'm just anticipating. People think like I like Warp Coven. No, I'll be playing Grey Knights until like they rotate out. That's just sort of how it goes.
No, I respect that. Yeah. And like there is definitely now more and more rumors for it because I've heard now that Kill Team is used as like a product launch and test for models like when they redo them. Like, we got the plastic Krieg Vet Guard, and like a couple years later we get a full Krieg army for the first time in plastic. We had the Kroot come out in plastic for the first time for Kill Team, and then a couple years later we get like a Kroot launch for the Tau. And Grey Knights are one of the few factions still needing like that kind of rescaled upsizing. And what's a better way to have your models, your modelers, and like your production capabilities tested than doing like a 5-man kill team of them? So that
Oh yeah,
that might be coming, man, and that'd be pretty sick.
crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, he's just a Warp Coven player. No, I'm gonna play Grey Knights, and I will, if they're OP or not, I will be playing every them all the time. So yep, I'm excited.
Hell yeah, we
Yeah,
just need.
I think it'd be a great addition.
Yeah, we just need like one guy with a big sword and big shield, like the classic just knight in shining armor archetype, and just
Oh yeah.
Grey Knight Warden, boom, operative, just kick ass team. That'd be so sick.
Oh yeah. That's definitely what I want.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Sammy. Congratulations again. Hope to see you at Kill Scream 4 in October, and good luck at Worlds. You got a little time to prep for them. I'm sure you get hopefully we get at least one balanced data slate before then.
Well,
I hope so.
yeah. Then again, Zach's been accurate with his posts. Every time people ask for it, they delay it a week. So we might be waiting until next edition at this point.
No, don't say that. I don't want to play Warp Coven anymore, man. I like the team, but like I don't like the people with like eyes glaze over as I explain the team. They're just like, so you have Seek, you have this, and you have that. Oh my god! And they just sort of roll their eyes. I'm like, I don't want to play them anymore, guys. Like, just don't make them good, so I don't have to play them.
Well, hopefully soon they won't be.
Yep.
So, well, thank you again, Sammy, for sitting down and talking to us. Congratulations again on your win. Also, I mean, even better than winning LVO was probably beating Brandon Bean on Beta Decima. So I think that's really what you're really gonna cherish from that. Not the golden ticket, and not the biggest tournament in the world win, but beating a drunk Brandon Bean on Beta Decima. So, Shawn, back to your tournament though. Any other details, any other little wrinkles or twists that you want the audience to know? And is there a charity element to it?
I know that we are finalizing the details for that stuff now. The harder part about working with a larger organization for a tournament like that is it's just not up to me. So we're figuring out those details, but that is one of the goals that I've stated and tried to work on, is that we want to definitely do something for charity from the event.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can even day of is something you can nail down as long as you got it in place by the time the tournament starts. So I wouldn't worry about that. I do want to mention really quick, actually, something to do with charity. For anybody who's in the Squad Games Discord or in Battle Brothers Ben Discord, you may have saw it today. There's a player in our community. His name's Chris, and Chris knows Ben from his area, and Chris played Dakota at the World Championships. Well, Chris is going through something right now. Apparently, he's got pancreatitis, and he is apparently for the past 2 weeks, I guess, has been in a medically induced coma, I believe it is. And there's a GoFundMe for him to help support him in his recovery. We'll put that in the show link. I haven't met him, but I just know that if the community, if it's someone that Dakota and someone that Ben are know and they want to help, I think we should all take a moment to see if we can help them out too. So we'll put a little show note in there to so you can see the GoFundMe for Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember, like, we may be a gaming community, but we're also a mutual aid community. Reach out. This is the stuff that matters. Today, them, tomorrow, it could be you. Not to sound apocalyptic, but we all rely on one another for stuff like this, even if we don't realize it. So get out there and help. It can really mean the difference to someone.
Well, on a little brighter note, Shawn, you're the dwarf guy in our community. So, and when I say dwarf guy, I mean like you're a tall drink of water. You're not a small gentleman.
I'm 6'2". Fuck
yeah.
you.
But you love the Hearthkin Salvagers. You love the Yaegers. I mean, your goal. Tell the audience what your goal is for the Hearthkin, and as far as like a 40K team goes.
Oh goodness. I love everything to do with the Votan. I love their lore. The models look amazing. Their entire aesthetic is just really great. No, I'm not going to say Rock and Stone because I like Votan lore, not Deep Rock Galactic. I know that'll be a hot take with some of my other dwarf fans. But my goal for a little present for myself, I started a new job about 4 months ago. It's been amazing. But I'm making a 4-tier display case with every single Votan model from the Codex in max composition. So that is 6 Sagittars, 3 Hecaton land fortresses, over 60 Hearthkin warriors, 30 Yaegers, and just every other model from the Codex. As many as you're allowed to bring in a 40K game. I think it's about 5,300 points worth of models.
I love it. I love big hobby projects, especially when you're going for full armies, like when people paint up like entire companies of Marines and stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I was really inspired by the GW display that they have for the Hearthkin or the Votan in general, and I want to create something equally stunning just to have in my own house right next to my desk.
Now, what you're really going to hate, though, is when you go back and listen to this and I edit the podcast to take out the I'm not going to say part of the Rock and Stone, and you just hear yourself saying Rock and Stone over and over again.
Don't do that to me, buddy.
I hate it so much. I'm going to say Rock and Stone, Rock and Stone, Rock and... It's just going to be over and over again.
I'm just going to edit myself in being like, Shawn, okay, you've said Rock and Stone 47 times now. Okay, you need to move on to another topic.
See, the nice part is I am... a bit of a fixture in the Hearthkin community and the Yaegir community on Command Point and Can You Roll a Crit and all the other Discords, and no one will believe you.
I've got the audio of it. I don't know what they're gonna. I mean, are they gonna believe you, or are they gonna believe the audio of you saying Rock and Stone over and over again?
I have full faith in the other Hearthkin and Votan fans that they will hear that and know that it is doctored because of how much I can't shut up about my dislike for Deep Rock Galactic.
Now, I don't really like editing the podcast. I do as little editing as I can, but now I'm going to go back and take out the part where you said doctored, put not doctored in front of it, and it's going to be a whole thing.
I've never believed you less in my entire life, and I've known you for like 2 years at this point, which isn't that long, but it's at least probably the most bullshit you've ever said.
Me saying Rock and Stone genuinely is about the same as Connor saying that AdMech are bad.
I mean, I
say AdMech are bad all the time.
I'm sorry. October. Horribly ugly models that don't deserve to be in Kill Team.
Okay.
Now I'm going to edit that to say AdMech are horribly ugly models that don't deserve to be killed. This is great.
I can just say that clean for you. I'm fine with that. Just let me know when you're ready for the take.
I'm ready. Let's go.
AdMech are horribly ugly models that don't deserve to be in Kill Team.
Why you guys gotta hurt my feelings like this?
I think Connor's got a new enemy now. So Battle Brothers Ben was like Connor's like savior because he defended Connor. Now Shawn is like the villain in Connor's story because he's gone even harder than I at least like the AdMech models.
I'm a Votan. We don't like AdMech. That's just how it is.
That's like a grudge, right?
Yeah.
It's in the book, right?
Don't steal tech from other people and you won't have any enemies.
Well, don't have evil AI tech.
You don't even... Okay. You know, we're not going to derail the podcast for 30 minutes while I explain.
We derail the podcast all the time.
That's the point of this podcast. As an avid listener, we should all expect that.
That's fair. That's fair.
How far can we derail this and then watch Chuck try to reel it in, and then wrap it up in a timely manner?
I fear to think about how bad it is before the edits take place.
There's no edits. I'm too lazy.
There's very little that Chuck's edited out of this, honestly. I think I do more editing in like the 4 episodes I touched than Chuck has done together.
That's not true. I used to spend like 4 hours editing this podcast, and then I realized that, the millions of listeners, they want to hear us raw.
The raw,
like that one
Monday night
British
raw.
chef.
What?
Where he's like,
wow.
No. I'm
He's talking about Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, where he's like, it's fucking raw, and it's like the one meme.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna bring 2 pieces of bread to the tournament and put them right next to your head, Connor, and then we'll go with that.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Anyways, so Shawn, being the Yaegir guy, my buddy down here, Brandon, not Brandon Bean, but my buddy Brandon from local Vancouver scene, he painted up some beautiful Yaegers. Couple of his first games were me destroying them with my Rekkas. And
you're just a bad friend. You get everyone into teams that aren't great and then beat them with teams that
I did not choose that team for him. He chose that of his own volition.
Just like Nick happened to choose of his own volition Kroot.
To be fair, I did buy the Kroot for him. So,
hey, Kroot are great, and I will say as a Yaegir aficionado that that matchup, once you learn it, is basically unlosable for the Yaegers into Rekkas.
Well, let's get.
I don't think the Rekkas are a very serious team.
I don't think they are either. They're fun as shit though. But
yes.
So let's as a Yaegir main, as a Yaegir. Well, I guess actually you're switching teams, but we can talk about that in a minute. As a Yaegir lover, which sounds weird. How does Brandon beat me with against the Rekkas?
It's funny that you asked. I just helped a newer player with this today, so I have it written down. But there's 3 major questions that you're always going to ask when you're playing Yaegers of your opponent, if you aren't aware of these answers ahead of time. The 3 are: do you have any Seek Light? If so, what kind? If it's not going to kill a Yaegir, it's not real Seek Light. Do you have any way to charge after charging? Because some factions do, like Felgor. And then, do you have any damage reduction, and what are the stipulations on it? Things like just a scratch, having the damage on a dice, all of those things. Once you've figured that out, your entire game plan is your equipment step and how you can frustrate your opponent. And that is purely how you master Yaegers. When I look at the board, I'm thinking about where my mines are going first and foremost, because I want my opponent to spend as much of their movement as possible going around them. The way the mines changed in this edition, they're really, really easy to avoid in theory. And so players will avoid them. They will not risk running into them. For anybody that doesn't play Jaegers, just so you know, it is 5 mines that you get to place on the table during the equipment step. You always want to try and place it first because they have placement restrictions based on other markers and objective markers. But 3 of them are real, 2 are fake, and the 3 that are real, if you move into their control range, immediately stop that action and they deal damage. They deal automatic damage, and they deal even more damage based on a dice roll. So for certain teams, it could be just you're dead. For other teams, it's really bad to lose your action on a charge or a move. And then sometimes elites will just waste an activation to jump into one and then dash backwards. But proper use of those mines and the frustration that they cause play into everything for the second step of Yaegers. So when I'm placing those mines, I'm thinking about, I don't want you to be able to blow them up easily and then run away. I want them to be as close to my side of the board as possible without being a hindrance to me. Because again, if you haven't played Yaegers, the mines will not work if you are standing in them. And they only work when somebody moves. So if you're standing in one and a player charges you and then you die, it won't go off until they try to move again. Really, really not good idea. So what I'll do a lot is place my light barricades, which I take every single game, or any of my other terrain that I want to hide behind, and I'll put a mine right in front of it. Certain maps on Volcus, the doors are really one directional that people are kind of funneled through. I'll put a mine in front of that. Anywhere that you can think of that a player is like, oh, this is my path to victory towards the center objective. No, we're going to put some mines in there. And that's a huge part of the game plan with the team because they're just not very strong as individual characters. Almost all of them are going to have 3 attack melees, which just means that you're not killing somebody as an attacker. You're almost always going to chip them as the defender. And their shotguns are 4-on-3s for most of their big weapons, or they have guns that deal 3-5 damage. So it's a lot of whittling down your opponent, surviving that interaction, and then pushing more damage into them afterwards.
All right, Brandon, there you go. Rematch time. Time to take down the Rekkas.
Yes, if you need any advice at all, please feel free to check the Command Point or KTC Discords. I've posted huge write-ups on this team. I could talk about them all day because they're very, very, very hard to play. And then the biggest area of failure is going to be your TAC Ops. They're so hard to do.
Yeah, they're a super annoying team for me as Hand of the Archon, team that I'm playing, because you have one more operative than me. You have slightly more wounds than me. And I just have to...
And you have that damage reduction bullshit that, even though I understand the team's not that great, I fucking hate that ploy with a passion.
No, it's
oh
so
my
good.
God, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. You guys are just so annoying.
Yep.
It's like one of those things. It's playing them is like either the most tedious game ever, or like nothing happens. It's just kind of like a lot of standoffs. You know? Which is a valid way to counter them. Don't let them tempt you. Don't let the doors tempt you with their treasures. Hold back, beat them in other ways.
Absolutely. That's actually how I won every single one of my games at LVO. Just frustrating my opponents, making them deal with me. Hand of the Archon is a special one because I practiced against Grant up here in Tacoma quite a bit, and it's really easy to take a team and know what they can do and then just force them to make mistakes. Hand of the Archon need to use their pain tokens a lot of the time if they want to steal an objective. Like if you're playing loot, they're going to almost always try to move, dash, pain token, loot, and objective. Well, what if you just take a warrior on turn 2, give him a resourceful point, and park him on that center objective without looting it?
Well, that's rather mean of you.
Yeah, they can't do anything. Most teams can't do anything with a warrior just sitting there worth 3 APL until his next activation.
Yeah. My strategy is just to completely ignore you as much as possible. Run past you wherever possible and ignore the primaries. Like I'm definitely not taking primaries as my my crit op selection on there. And I'm trying to do my secondaries and get past you and just annoy you right back. Hold back so that you can't do your stuff. It's a completely different game playing Yaegers. After we had that discussion last week, I kind of did a deep dive into the team, and I've been thinking it's been troubling to me, as a Hand of the Archon player, to know that you could just sit there and ruin my day, essentially. Void Dancers don't have that weakness, but almost all the other elf teams do.
Yeah, and even Void Dancers are not too difficult for the Yaegers to handle because guess what? We don't have a lot of piercing. It's just a lot of consistent 4/4 damage or 3/5 melees. And big strengths for teams are the ability to double kill. But with teams like Elites or Void Dancers, they need to charge, fight, and shoot. So that means me as the Yaegir player knows exactly what I need to do, which is don't allow that. Spread out, be 4 inches away from my operatives or more. And every time that you go for a one-on-one, I'm going to hit you twice. Probably kill you before you kill me unless you roll amazing or you have a really good damage profile. And then we start the cycle all over again because all of my operatives are on conceal.
Yeah, that's very rude. Not fun.
Hey, that's what's the best part about it is I'm on conceal. I'm not trying to kill you. Why are you trying to kill me?
He's just a dwarf doing his dwarf stuff.
You've got like 3 guys with silent. That like throwing hatchet guy. Ooh, that guy crits me every time. It's so annoying.
It's pretty easy. And also for Brandon, don't ever use that throwing hatchet without your trusty no kin left behind. You are going to send your iron break up. He is going to die gloriously on the center objective, and then you're going to use that token for the rest of the game to punish everyone who wants to try and beat you on the crit up.
Well, that's some solid advice from our good friend Shawn here. So thank you, Shawn, in that regard.
I hope everybody frustrates their
anyone
friends.
that just heard that, ignore it. Pick teams that don't have damage reduction instead. Pick breachers. They're great right now. But you mentioned a little bit earlier, Shawn, you're turning off the third story. We're talking about the balanced data slate because that, of course, we record last week's episode and then the next day they randomly drop it because fuck us, I guess.
I mean, but, we kind of knew that was going to happen,
we like delayed the podcast like 3 weeks in a row in case it ever dropped, and then the second we don't, it does. Like, I guess we should have known, but
yeah, the Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
I think that turning off the third floor is a pretty elegant solution versus the update we got in the balanced data slate. That's like basically like, I don't know, you guys like feel it out and do what you feel is good. Like make it
flip
work.
a coin depending on what day of the week it is. You can charge it. Just fuck it. I don't know.
Have fun. I don't know. It should work. Like don't take it too seriously. Make sure that people can play and attack you up there. Okay, guys.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't read the data slate, that is an exhausting rule to try to explain to people. The H rule for Vulcus, it's 2 paragraphs long.
Yep. I'm just turning off the third floor for now.
Yeah,
it's just too much to deal with.
I feel like they wanted to turn it off, but they couldn't.
They can't. They're like, well, we're not allowed to because we have to have the terrain. So,
yeah. The funny thing is too is that like GW of all people, I've played in GW tournaments where they turned off their own vantages on Octarius, but like they put terrain. When I played on pods at Adepticon that GW ran, they put shit on like 2 of the vantages so you couldn't get on those, but they don't want to turn off their own third floor. I don't know.
I mean, how it's played versus rules that go out to every single person in the world are probably slightly different, a little bit different expectations on those also.
Yeah, I guess it's probably like 32 64 player tournament versus being like, hey, we designed this shit and it sucks.
Yeah, basically.
They're never going to admit that Beta Decima was a mistake.
It totally was. I've spent so much time trying to make Beta Decima like somewhat good, and it's not.
You just have to bring another half box of something else's terrain, and then it's great.
I mean, like it's tolerable then, but like, why?
Yeah.
Why would
and
you
then
do
maybe
that
special rules, some like free ladders for people.
I would love to be the designer that has the fallacious arguments that they're saying that Beta Decima is really good, and they're like, "No, guys, you don't get it. You don't understand."
The very edgy and super unique to fight for Beta Decima.
I mean, you know, there's those Australian organizers out there that are playing it, so they will say Beta Decima's not that mad or not that bad, and I think that they're insane. So
That's just because I mean they live on an island. They're used to all the shit around
yeah,
them.
like
And
have you
not being
seen
able
their
to step in the
wildlife?
water, yeah.
I let players step in the water during our narrative games. I think it's more fun.
I think they just needed to add like the swimming rules that they had in it was in one of the I can't remember which one it was, but in one of the narrative rules, they actually you could swim, and
I believe it was in
they
the
supposedly
third
made it like
one.
way better.
I think it would be better if it was like a swamp instead of like an infinitely deep thrashing ocean, you know?
Yeah, just make
Like
people have an injured movement penalty going through there or something.
exactly. Like this is a swamp world where you just, you know, just lay a coat of green shade over the water and now it's suddenly a swamp. And throw
But
some
that's
moss on it.
suspiciously sounds close to jungle
I
terrain.
mean, yeah,
Are we
absolutely.
getting a hint for the next box?
Tyler's NDA
That's
confirmed.
it. Absolutely. It's a jungle. NDA.
Everybody knows Tyler has an NDA.
You know it. I mean, like absolutely. Totally have an NDA. I mean, I did sign one at one point, but it's not valid anymore. So
Oh yeah, you were going to TO for Tacoma, but GW dropped the ball on that one.
well, you know, I mean, like we're not certain about what happened.
Look, you didn't say it; I said it.
So I didn't say anything. You know, GW, if you ever need help, I'm there to assist.
Well, there's a couple good tournaments coming up. You know,
Yeah.
with good terrain, good rules, good TOs. Our
Good
tournament's
TOs.
coming up in a couple weeks. I was going to
Mhm.
ask Tyler if we're shutting off the third story. Sounds like we are just shutting off the third story for that.
Yeah, and who knows what other stuff I'll do. You know, depending on my mood that day, we may get weird. We may not. So
All right.
Nice. I'm
Cool.
excited. I have already got my hotel booked for that tournament, so I will be there.
I'm excited. You know, it's not often I get to play tournaments. This will be like what my third one in a row though, so I'm pretty hyped about that team tournament. You know, and then we got yours like 2 weeks after,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm super excited to go all the way up to Bellingham and see you again. You know, 2 times in such a short period, and
That's rare for us.
yeah, absolutely, and have a shot at the golden ticket because, like you were saying, I want a golden ticket. It's something that I've seen my friends all go. You know, I've seen them all get them, and I've been pretty close myself, and I haven't gotten one. So, hopefully, with enough events this year, there will be golden tickets to go around. You know,
Yeah, that would be the best thing in the world to see a group of Pacific Northwest players show what we can do at Worlds. Because
absolutely.
the more I travel, the more I am very well aware that we have an insanely talented group of players who all underestimate their skill.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some phenomenal players out here. We have a very aggressive play style. Anyone who's played anyone from the Pacific Northwest will tell you you're not going to get any time to rest. You're going to get charged
Mm-hmm.
ASAP. You know,
Oh yeah,
like, you're getting charged turning point one if it can happen. So,
Well, Shawn, thanks for joining us tonight, buddy. It's good to have you on the podcast. Where can people find you? You got socials.
no, not really. I used to post on social
OnlyFans.
media a lot.
I saw you post on social media the other day.
Yeah, Jimmy Kelly has been asking me to post more stuff online, so
You
I've
should.
been doing that. But it's just the company that I started when I did commission work, ABC Studios. We have a Discord, but our focus was always locals first, and we've just been really fortunate enough that sustains all of our efforts. So things like social media and outreach to the wider world hasn't really been a focus for us for the last couple of years.
That's fine. Social media is stupid, anyways. Speaking of that, you can find me at Painting Cave Minis. Connor's at Spanaway on everything. Tyler at Low Brown Minis on Instagram. DiceRoad.BigCartel.com. Patreon.com/Vox Cascadia podcast. I'd love to thank the Patreons. We have Jenna, Cody, Sam, Nick, Holly, Zarin, Greg, Rob, Zach, and Sean. So thanks for supporting us, buddy. We appreciate it.
Of course, we appreciate you, man. So
yeah. No, thank you guys so much for inviting me on and just chatting about random stuff. This was really a lot of fun. I really, really hope that everybody can check out Cascade Clash because if we can make this a successful event, we will definitely have 2 a year for the foreseeable future.
Oh yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to make a successful event with you and see you there. So.
Yeah, well, we'll have a link in the show notes for the Best Coast Pairings link, so you can get your tickets. We'll yell it out in the Discord again. It's actually, if you're in the Kill Team Cascadia Discord, it's in the events portion as well too. So yeah, go get a ticket. Go support Sean. Go support the community up there. Come kick Connor's ass. Come kick Tyler's ass. You just let me win though.
What are you bringing, Chuck?
So. Probably Rekkas. I think I'm bringing Commandos to the team tournament, but then that's just so Nick can play Rekkas. But since it's not a team tournament, I'll probably bring Rekkas.
Nice. All right.
So join them.
You're bringing goats, aren't you, Sean?
For your the team tournament, yes, I am. I'm going to be maining either goats or void dancers for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that sounds like a solid choice there. So who knows what I'll be running?
All right, well, we'll see you in like 4 weeks, buddy. Actually, no, we'll see you in like 2 weeks because you'll be down here for the team tournament.
Yep, it'll be like 2 weeks.
Cool. Well, Connor's buying beers.
What? I am.